What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in, and it's a brand new week. Hope you had a great weekend. Happy Tuesday to you. We got a whole lot to talk about because we're getting closer and closer to the MLB trade deadline, and that means the storylines are getting louder. The rumors are coming every which way, and our goal is to try to sort through it all, but also we got to sort through some comments that have already been out there. Like Elias made comments just a couple days ago about the direction for the Orioles going into this final 9 days. Deadline July 31st at 6 p.m., by the way. Then Jeff Passan just released a top 50 list of prospects, or shouldn't say prospects, I'm sorry, players that could be available at the deadline. So we'll evaluate and see who's at number one and also who could fit other teams. And spoiler alert, there's a lot of Orioles on that list. There's a lot of conversations then around the young prospect, since I just mentioned the word prospect. How about Kobe Mayo, the lack of some Kobe Mayo in the field? Tony Manzolino talked about it yesterday. We're going to talk about it today. And training camp for the veterans, at least in Baltimore, kicked off today. So, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit of football, get you prepared, and we are getting closer and closer to the BMW Championship, heading right back to Baltimore here next month. So it's a whole lot to talk about here. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do it live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Whew. Now let's breathe. I'm not alone today. Well, I guess I'm not always alone because Zach Bollinger's behind the sticks. Bolly, welcome back.
Feeling good. It's still a beautiful day out there. Driving down here, it was windows down, feeling good. Feeling, I guess sports are back, so a lot more to talk about this week. So, I felt like last week was one of those like weird weeks where we just kept on having to be like, yeah, not much is going on right now. Not much is going on right now.
We talked about life. We talked about music and songs that you sang as a kid that you shouldn't have.
That's for sure.
That a lot of those songs. And you know what? Maybe he can give us one of those songs himself because we haven't heard his take here. But he's back in studio. The one and only Locked On Kevin Ostreicher. Welcome back.
And look at me looking at the right camera.
Yes, you
There's
are.
literally no camera right there, so nothing to look at. But yeah, football is back. The bells are chiming, and we have a lot of good to talk about today. But of course, this is my favorite. I don't actually think I have I don't still have the countdown, but we're about 9 days away from the trade deadline.
Yes.
Which is my favorite time. Zach and I have been preparing for this moment for a while, Ryan. We talked about it. Day 2 of the season is when we started our trade discussions.
You know what? I forgot about that.
Day 2, we were already talking about trading. And for those who didn't catch our episode of Kevin and Zach React, Zach and I traded the entire team away. We asked ChatGPT to make trades for every single player on the Orioles roster. And
it started out. I got to say, it started out with just the guys that were going to get traded. We asked for Ryan O'Hearn. Yes. We asked for Mullins. And then as the team got different,
you said, screw it, just do the whole damn team. And you did.
When we were trading Gunner for Andrew Painter for a fourth time. Andrew Painter was on the team a lot.
Andrew Painter was offered to us. And actually, after we were done, I made ChatGPT do a trade for Gunner and Jackson combined, and I made it be like the best it could be. And I ended up getting Shohei, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Dalton Rushing.
Yeah.
And that trade by itself?
By itself.
What? Like I said, we
got Terrence Skubal, Hunter Green, Jared Jones,
Hunter Brown.
So what we're finding, so it's that easy to make trades.
That's
easy.
What the hell are the Orioles doing then?
Exactly.
Why aren't the entire all-stars around Major League Baseball in Baltimore?
It makes no sense because we proved it was easy.
It makes no sense. Kevin, though, maybe you can think about it then, a song you listened to as a child that wasn't made for kids, but you still sang and bopped to it. You can think about it.
Oh, I have it right now.
Oh, you do? What do you got?
Whistle by Flo Rida.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
That's a good one.
You know what I'm going to look up?
Also, another one was, oh, man. No, it wasn't that. It was Shoot.
Whistle's actually a good one.
Well,
I
we're
didn't
gonna
know Whistle.
Well, we're gonna save the lyrics for later on in the middle of the program.
Well, I have another one
that we'll also look up.
We'll
talk
about
about
it
it then.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Whistle for Kevin. So if you guys tuned in last week, we had songs that you sang as a kid that really weren't made for kids, but were they bops? You're damn right. Mine was Confessions Part 2. Ushers, these are my confessions. Why don't we get going a little bit on it, but at least on the music side, just saw the news though, by the way, Ozzy Osbourne, the report saying he just passed away at age 76. Talk about a musical legend throughout the industry. Heck, guys, one of the commercials that I was a part of, the Radio Shack commercial, was with Ozzy Osbourne and the Osbourne family. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the commercial was about saying that Ozzy moved next door, and my dad was like, oh, Ozzy Smith, Hall of Fame baseball player. Ozzy, I haven't seen Ozzy in years. But it turned out to be the other Ozzy Osbourne. So if those reports are true, may he rest in peace. Definitely an icon for decades in the music industry, and definitely made a huge impact in that world. But now, guys, let's get into some trade talk because I know that's what people want to talk about. And maybe before we dive into all the Elias conversations, things are very chippy right now across the social media platforms. I guess you can make the argument they're always chippy.
Yeah.
Even when they're technically not. A lot of tension for so many different reasons. But if you're a fan of the Orioles or your team is losing, because I see it, Yankees are struggling right now. The Braves, same thing, just as disappointing as far as where they are as the Orioles. But, one thing, I felt like people were coming at me guns hot yesterday, fellas.
Yeah.
I was on with Glenn Clark with Press Box, and we were talking about options. And we talked about Dean Kramer, Trevor Rogers, and Felix Bautista. And the conversation got brought up on value. And I said, if I'm looking at all of that, of the three, if we're talking value, I don't want to see Dean or Trevor traded for this because you don't have starting pitching. Grayson Rodriguez, which we've seen the reports, it's not looking very optimistic going into next year for what's going on with him, because I do believe that there's going to have to be some possible surgical repairs or extended time off. And Trevor Rogers and Dean Kramer are actually your two best pitchers on your starting rotation.
Don't say that. People want to go like the truth, Rip.
But Felix Bautista, I want to make this clear. Felix, Dean, and Trevor should not be traded, period. But if there's a value piece that you would trade, Felix has the most value. Why? He would get you the most return. And I mean, it would be a ludicrous return. Still, I'm not going to do it. But that got people up in arms. And maybe that's a good way to jump into this discussion, because you know what got people up in arms? Mike Elias's comments just the other day. And I know the Orioles came out of the break a little bit slow. Lost that series in Tampa. They're trying to fight back in Cleveland. And Mike Elias went on MLB radio on Sirius XM and talked about what the Baltimore Orioles' plans would be. So let's play this clip for you guys. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. And then we're going to react here on the other side.
Here today talking, and we're 11 games under 500. It's been a huge disappointment. I mean, I've talked about it the last couple of weeks. None of us wanted to be here, expected to be here. There's a number of reasons for it, and we're taking account of how we got here. But the reality is, when we're at that point in the standings and 11 days away from the trade deadline, we've got to be realistic about our situation. And the conversations that I'm having right now are more oriented towards seeing what's out there for some of our available major league players. And, we're not blowing up the team. And we think we're going to be very good again in 2026 and have that intention. And, we're not interested in changing the foundation of the team, but to the degree that we have players that interest other guys or other clubs that are coming towards the end of their contract, we got to listen to that. So that's what we're spending our time on. You talk about everything, you listen to everything, you explore opportunities. but we're trending in that direction right now, and it's not what we want to be doing.
So Mike Elias made it clear they're going to explore the option for the expiring contract. So Kevin or Zach, if you don't mind pulling up the list of expiring contracts, can one of you guys do that real quickly when we have this conversation? Because let's just get the whole picture here. The Baltimore Orioles, as we know, they've shown flashes of could they get back into it? And right when you think they're getting back into it, they feel like they take a step back or they stay in neutral. And I'm going to pull up the standings here as we are discussing this today. It is July 22nd, okay? And the Baltimore Orioles are trying to fight back into the wild card picture, especially with, when you look at it, it's very competitive and very competitive in their own division. But here's the standings, okay? Right there. So here's the wild card standings at the current moment. The Baltimore Orioles sit 8.5 games out, 11 games under 500. And if you look at the top, the Yankees, 10 games over 500, Seattle, 6 games over, and then Boston is tied for that third and final wild card spot, 6 games over 500, right? And then in front of them still, Tampa Bay Rays, the Texas Rangers, the Guardians who the Orioles are playing, Angels, Royals, Twins. So it's a heavy and steep hill that the Orioles are going to have to climb here. And when you're looking at the Orioles roster, I want to emphasize this. Mike did say he's exploring the expiring contracts, but nucleus of the team, they're not going to blow up. And what I took from that is they're not looking at any of the key pieces. Jordan Westberg, Kowser, Rutschman, Henderson, Holiday. You know, you can make a case if you think some of the expiring guys are a part of the core, but right now they're probably not, just from how it's playing out. So I think that gives the context first, at least about where the plan is. So it's not about the guys that they plan for the future. So I think Felix Bautista's in that conversation. Trevor Rogers, Dean Kramer, I don't think any of those guys are at the forefront of being moved by Mike Elias. But Zach, do you have that list that we could run with?
Yeah, let me pull it up right now. Now, some of these expiring deals do end up having, obviously, some sort of option. So that's going to be Tyler O'Neill, Andrew Kittredge, and Ramon Laureano have options. The rest of these are guys, and then Sagano is also right below here. But
so that's a long list. Now, the Ramon Laureano option and Tyler O'Neill is a player option, club option for Ramon.
Yep, $6.5 million.
The value for that, Ramon's value is probably one of the highest of the Baltimore Orioles. And we'll get into the trade targets in general. But if you're Baltimore here, you know, and Zach, I can start with you and we'll go around the horn. Yeah, Charlie Morton, it's been great to see. If a team wants Charlie, you got to explore the option. Bullpen arms are going to be extremely valuable. And I mean, we're not even talking about on this list, right, Zach? I mean, Sir Anthony Dominguez, I believe, would also be on this list.
Yeah, so he's right up here with his extension that goes through this year. So
that's another one, right? I think that the Orioles have so much talent that teams are going to want, even though they might not be playing up to their standard, teams want big league talent, Zach, and the Orioles have a heck of a lot of it. That is going to be more than likely the majority are not going to be in Baltimore next year.
Yeah, and, you know, I actually just put out a tweet, funny enough, that we just talked about it. And actually, yeah, so Sir Anthony's he had a club option this past year, so he is a free agent officially. I wanted to clear that up this upcoming year. I think, honestly, a guy like Sir Anthony is going to be a massive target for teams. And in all honesty, weirdly enough, I think Sir Anthony and Charlie Morton might be the guys that get the most for you if you're Baltimore, because Sir Anthony's having an incredible season. Unfortunately for him, it's kind of being, I don't want to say downplayed by the fact that the Orioles aren't winning a lot of games, but it kind of is. You know, you don't talk about relievers on losing teams mostly. You know, those aren't the guys that get the spotlight. Hell, even Felix Bautista, who's having an incredible year, people are like, is he really having that great of a year? Yeah.
Yes.
If you watch him, he's having that great of a year. Just because he doesn't have 40 saves already, like he's getting the job done when his number's called. Oh, by the way, he's also fresh off Tommy John doing this. So I think Sir Anthony's going to give you a lot of value. And I mean, the list, it's not just a bunch of guys that I think contending teams look at as add-ons. I think some of these guys can help contending teams. You know, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Gregory Soto, even though I know people here feel weirdly, you know, every other day is different with Gregory Soto. It's a power lefty out of the pen. That's a lot. You know, that can fetch you a lot. I think that people aren't necessarily, it's not going to get any top 100 prospects, but I think that there's a lot more value in these Orioles players than people truly understand. I think Sir Anthony can get you a nice little package. I think so could Charlie Morton. I think so could Gregory Soto. But I think, like you've said, that's where it's got to stop. Like, unless the trade package literally comes through and I pass out from excitement, I don't think you trade Felix. I don't think you trade those guys. It has to be, I'll be honest, now a much bigger scale, obviously. The same sort of thing with Baker. I don't think they were shopping Baker. I think Tampa Bay called them and were like, hey, we'll give you the 37th pick this Sunday. And they were like, okay, did not think we were getting that for Baker. So do I think they're going to should shop Batista? No. But if a team calls you on July 30th, July 31st, and they're like, hey, we'll give you these top prospects because we need this guy. We're desperate. You know, time's ticking. You know, the Phillies, the Mets, they miss out on someone. They're like, hey, we need this guy to be the difference maker. And they give you a deal that you can't refuse. That's one thing. But you can't just make trades to make trades. There's got to be the value received back.
Yeah, it's all value-based, right, Kevin? Yeah. And when you've watched this, and whether people like or not what's happened in the past with Mike Elias, first off, I know the ones that want to say for this past year, you're right. You can look at the construction, the organization, the infrastructure of what's happened. It's going to fall on leadership. So yes, he's going to take a lot of pressure, but also you can't discredit of what's happened over the last 3 seasons in Baltimore, right? They got to try to figure some things out, but here we are. And for this deadline, and if you're looking at players, and you just mentioned, Zach, about a lot of different options, I don't think that we're going to see the top name like Felix Batista go, or any big names. But Kev, I think that guys like Sir Anthony, I mean, heck, I know Cedric Mullins is not the numbers wise, maybe where people were expecting, but I think that why fans in Baltimore might not value Cedric as much, I can tell you one thing, because I've watched it, I've listened to it. Teams value these outfielders. I mean, heck, remember last year, Austin Hayes was not playing very well, and the Phillies still made a trade for him. And guess what? Hayes, I know he's been injured. He's gone off and played pretty well somewhere else. So it's a constant conversation. And I think for all the problems that people want to blame Mike Elias for, I think fans would be even more infuriated if Mike didn't do his job in this case and see what's out there, because then you're snowballing a problem already into a disappointing 100 games of the 2025 season.
Yeah, I think that you have to, I mean, you owe it to everybody if you're Mike Elias to go out there and see, especially when, you know, not all of these guys are going to be back in Baltimore if you keep them. Like, they're not going to, in my opinion, bring back every single guy that's on an expiring contract. And to me, I think the big factor with the Orioles is that you can get back little packages, nice packages for these guys. It's not going to be all world guys coming back, but you know, you have to look towards the future at this point, especially, you know, you brought up the standings, talked about where the Orioles are at this point in the season, and they've just kind of been hovering. I mean, they are not in the 18 under 500 anymore, but they've really been hovering like 12 to 9 games under 500 for a while now, and you think they're going to have a breakthrough, and then all of a sudden they lose 2 of 3, or they, you know, lose 4 of 5. And so at this point, not only trading veterans, that helps by getting back packages, I think it also helps see what you have maybe in the lower parts of your system, like bringing up guys from AAA if you move off of an O'Hearn, giving guys other opportunities. And, I know we'll talk about Kobe Mayo a little bit later in the show, but he's an example. Maybe you bring back up Heston Kjerstad and you play him and see if, he can put us together towards the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about, okay, trade these guys, get packages, get guys back. And, we can have different conversations about what those packages should look like or what would be considered successful. Is that a guy that can help you in 2026, or is it more so a lower level prospect or two that can maybe hit for you in a couple of years? But I think the other underlying storyline is not just about moving off of guys to get back players. It's also about giving other younger players opportunities, and what I am now chalking up to a lost season. You can still have a lost season benefit you in certain ways. And I think one of the ways the Orioles can maybe, turn lemons into lemonade is seeing what you have. And I think that moving off of guys that are contributing to that logjam, and not just trading him to trade him. Don't just trade Ryan O'Hearn for, some random one prospect and be done with it and it's not good value. Get value for him, but also use that spot to see what young guys have in your organization.
And that's probably where the biggest question's going to lie here. And I think the bigger questions, and I think you're exactly right, Kevin. This is what you have to do. You have to do this. You have to see what can help bolster your organization. But here's the bigger thing that people aren't talking about is I don't care what trades you make, which two things we know. Injuries are going to happen in baseball, and when you have your top guys injured, it's going to make an impact. I'm not going to excuse that. However, whoever comes into your organization, they got to fit what you want to do. They got to fit your identity. And the biggest issue for me for the Orioles going forward is, what is your identity going to be? Because I can argue right now, and I've said this on the show, and I know people want to say, Ryan, you're a homer, you're biased. Well, actually, I'm very realistic when it comes to the fundamentals of the game. The Orioles, with their faults, are as bad as they are because fundamentally they haven't been good enough. Not because they've been lacking talent. What happened yesterday against the Guardians in Game 1? You get off to a good start. You can't get a shutdown inning. Okay, that's part of it. You had 2 errors in the game, and you could say, well, it only led to 1 earned run. Errors are errors. The Orioles, a team that 2 years ago when they won the most games in the American League in the regular season, were top 6 in fielding percentage. They are in the bottom tier of fielding percentage this year. That taxes your pitching staff. What happened at the end of the game in Game 1 against the Guardians? The big inning at the end is what doomed the Orioles. It's always one big inning, a couple plays, and that's fundamental baseball. The Baltimore Orioles aren't the only team that's snake-bitten with injuries. I think that's the other part I want to get out of here. Yes, you are going to lose key players. But if you look around Major League Baseball, a lot of teams have lost key players. So whatever happens here, the identity of your ball club with who you make deals for has to be completely sound and concrete. And we're not fully going to get that answer, Kevin, Zach, until 2026, right? Because I don't think that's going to shift by the end of this year. But when you make the moves, and we'll save that for a different time, the Orioles need to figure out who they want to be as they try to contend to win a World Series. Because right now, what they are and the identity, that's not going to be good enough. And I would say a team that's very similar right now is the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves have a lot of talent. They've had a lot of injuries, but they have been a team that's underperformed as well and are kind of trying to right the ship. And in Baltimore, we know the American League East is not getting any easier. And that could be for a whole different discussion. But Baltimore, number one is see what you can get. But then the bigger thing, which is number 2, figure out what it means to play the Oriole way again. And that's going to help separate what you want to be to get back to bringing a World Series to Baltimore. And that hasn't been done in 42 years. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Shout out Facebook. I see you guys hitting that like. I see you on X and YouTube. Appreciate you guys and our channel members. I see you guys Appreciate all the help as always. You guys help make this run. So thank you guys. Woo! Well, we still got to, I'm like segueing, like we're not going to talk more about prospects and trades, right? Like shirts and pants, man. Deadline season. I want to answer a couple comments because I see this in here real quickly. I don't think it's necessarily that the Orioles can be compared to the Pirates, and this is why I think it's unfair. The Orioles have gone to three straight winning seasons, 2 straight playoff appearances. Like they were doing things right. But, you realize that it wasn't good enough. It was not good enough. The Pirates, I don't know. I think Paul Skeens would have like 1 loss in his career if they averaged like the MLB average for runs in a game.
Yeah.
They just can't figure a lot of things out there in general. And to go to the pitching side here, because I saw the comment, until this team gets serious about pitching, it'll be the same story. So that's why I was so gung-ho about Trevor Rogers and Dean Kramer. Can we stop with the Dean hate? Like, I know that people, like, they go, well, wait a minute. Hey, we know what Dean is. What do you guys think Dean Kramer is? Like, out of curiosity. I've heard people go, he's a 4th or 5th starter, fringe. We know who he is. So if I told you, Kevin, that this is a pitcher that would be on your staff the last 3 years, would you take him? Given the circumstances of what it is. Okay? He's a guy that's ERA. If I can, why isn't this now I'm getting all heated right now.
You gotta
Here
keep
it is.
going.
Keep the momentum. Keep the momentum. Got to pay the bills in here.
Under.
Okay. Since Dean Kramer had pitched more than 20 starts in 2022, okay? If I had told you that this pitcher had a 3.23 ERA, a 4.12, a 4.10, a 4.06, would you want him on your staff? And he's been durable. He's had at least 21 starts over the last 4 seasons.
Yes, I would.
Okay? So what do you think 4.06 ERA, Zach, puts you right now in Major League Baseball?
Where that puts you?
For out of 150 starters, where do you think that ranks Dean?
I'm going to say top 40.
You're right. He just dropped from 40th to 41st. So if I do my math with this,
unacceptable.
Yeah, it is unacceptable, right? If I do my math with this, there's 150 pitching spots, but we know you have more than 150 starting pitchers throughout the league.
Yeah.
So that would put Dean as a number 2 on staffs. Is my math right there?
Yeah.
30 would be a 1. And we know, again, I'm not saying Dean's a 2. I'm not saying that at all. But a guy that actually has been way better than people want to give credit for. And he has the one thing that holds him back is he does have those games that scratch your head. But overall, Dean has been consistent. And then go to the other side, Trevor Rogers. Trevor Rogers has been your best pitcher since he's been called up.
Yeah.
He looks like an all-star in 2021. Why would you want to move those guys? And if Dean can pitch to a 4 ERA and Trevor Rogers, I'll just say he drops down to a 3.5. Would you want those guys in your rotation? Yes. Every team would want that. I don't know one team that wouldn't. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
So I just want to point that out. And this is why I say it becomes more fundamental with it. Baltimore in 2023, you know what? There was not their strength? Their starting pitching staff.
Yeah.
You know what they were really good at, Kevin? 1-run games. You know what they were really good at, Kevin? Situational hitting. Comeback victories.
Fundamentals.
Having fun.
Having fun is a big part of it. There is a mood. And when you lose, guys, shit sucks. I'll tell you that first and foremost. When I was on the Tides in 21 and the big league team wasn't winning games either, those are rough 2 places to be. You were excited to be in the bigs for the guys that got there. Obviously didn't get up there. But guys that came down, like, woof, man, that's a tough place. Love the big leagues. We can't win. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
The minor leagues, when you get your shit kicked in each night, well, I might lose my job. well, this sucks. How do we get better? It's contagious. So I want to get that point out here because I don't think people understand just because things are going well, there's some good bright spots for this team moving forward. The Orioles have good players. That's why this is frustrating, Kev, right? I mean, they have a good core. That's why teams want these players in trades.
Yeah,
is it fair to say, Kevin, would you be surprised if Cedric Mullins gets traded and he goes and balls somewhere else?
No.
And why?
Because he's a good vet. He's been around the game and has had productive seasons. I just think that when you lose, like you said, Ryan, it bleeds into everybody. Everybody kind of feels it. But, you kind of get that cloud lifted up and, you play free and, you're competitive again. And I think it brings out the best in you. I mean, I think when you're competitive, that's what brings out the best in a lot of these guys. So I wouldn't be shocked at all.
And also, Zach, who played well in the playoffs in the 2 games last year?
Yeah. Only Cedric.
Literally only setting. Literally only setting.
So when you're looking at guys' makeup, Zach, the makeup of a player, and I'm seeing the comments. How do you get better? You got to go through it. And that's why I look at Dean and I can look at a guy like Trevor Rogers, who had a lot of shit going on for 4 years.
Yeah.
Trevor Rogers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm buying what he's able to do. But you need to go through these moments. You don't become better in the moment. In 2023, when the Orioles first went to the playoffs, they had never experienced the true test of winning in the postseason. 2024, they were there. The pitching was there. They gave up 3 runs in 2 games. You know what wasn't there? The offense. Bases loaded, no outs. Royals, chance to win that game 2, right? We all remember. You got Santander, Cowser, and Adley up. 0 runs. So this narrative around that you need pitching you need pitching, but you need guys to handle in the big moments. That's all I have to say about that. Zach, you had anything to say before we continue to move on?
I think it's just one of those things where it's like the team right now, it's so much of it is just simply about guys not performing well when it matters. Yes, injuries and stuff. Like you said, they didn't have, in the playoffs, the one guy that showed up, it felt like was Cedric Mullins. It feels like for so many of these guys, they didn't get that taste of how to win. And, I've seen people talk about, I think this team goes as Adley goes. I think this team goes as Westbrook goes. You lose those 2 guys throughout this season. I know Adley just hit a double in AAA, which is good to see, but you lose those 2 guys. That's a massive hit offensively. Then you add into the fact of, you don't have Bradish this year. You don't have Wells. You obviously lost Burns in the offseason. But it just feels like the guys like Dean, like Trevor Rogers, like those are not expendable players, especially with what the issue for the Orioles has been, which is pitching. I mean, they scored 5 runs last night in the first 3 and then went radio silence after. 5 runs should win you games. Like you should be winning games. I think I saw a stat that the Orioles, when they score 5+ runs, are like 30-10 this year. You should not be losing 10 games already when you've scored 5 runs in a game. Like, that's where the biggest thing is. So I agree with you on, especially Dean Kramer. Yeah. Should Dean Kramer be your number 1 on a World Series contending team? Probably not. But if you give me Dean Kramer as, the number 3, Dean Kramer is a damn good pitcher. And that he's going to step up. He's incredible versus the AL East. Every time there's a big game, Dean steps up. It just feels like you need those kind of guys. I mean, Kevin, how many times on post-game shows have we had to say Orioles lose their 2nd, 3rd straight? Dean Kramer's got to say, stop the bleeding tomorrow. And he does. And he does. He's the one who goes and gets you that win. That's the stuff you can't just look at stats and be like, this guy does this, this, and this. It's also the feel of, in a big moment when the team needs a win, Dean, more times than not, has gone out there and gotten the job done.
Yeah, and in my opinion, too, I think that, the point that we're all making here is that Dean and Trevor Rogers, they can be a part of the future of this team, and they, they're showing why. But that doesn't mean that the Orioles can just stay content and just have them and, hope Grayson can come back healthy, which, we all have opinions on that and whether, when he'll be pitching again for the Orioles. But, it's about, yes, this season is probably lost. It just is what it is. And I think the most disappointing part of that is honestly the fact that the league is so wide open this year. Like it feels like if they had just played up to even a little bit more of their potential and they were really in this thing, we talk about it all the time, Ryan. You mention it all the time. Just get to the dance.
Get in there.
Anything can happen. And so that to me is the most disappointing part is like the talent is there, but I don't think that enough was added in the offseason to fully take the next step in the event. And honestly, I didn't like the pitching staff was one thing where they did, they lost Corbin. They didn't do the whole thing. And you're relying on guys to one, be healthy and two, have good years. And it just didn't work. But the offense being as disappointing as it has was something I did not see coming at all, at least not to this extent. And, with Gunnar, the average is fine, but, the production really hasn't been there this season. Adley obviously has had a rough year and he's been out for a while. They missed Cowser. And that's the thing, right? I'd be curious, and I don't know, Zach, if, you're the stats baseball guru over there. I don't know if you have this, but how many games the Orioles have played offensively with their full complement of players? It has to be single digits, might not even be a game. So maybe one or two.
Right.
I don't know.
And that's a good point, Kev. So injuries do matter. Like we're not going to sit here.
It's not an excuse, but they do matter. Yes.
Right. It's a huge problem. But as a player, I always hate the excuse part because guess what? Teams are going to have to play with the same situation.
Everybody deals with it.
And even last year, you know what happened? You know what people said in the second half? Man, injuries hit. Man, we lost guys. Well, guess what? It's going to happen every year. The Texas Rangers won the World Series without Jacob deGrom. He was out, and then they traded for Max Scherzer, and then he got hurt. Like, Texas was just drowning trying to get into the playoffs in the second half, and then they sneak in and they win 11 road games. Shirts and pants. 11 road games en route to winning the World Series, right? Like, It's a fascinating conversation, and we could talk about this for a while. And we're going to talk about Gunnar later in the week, Kevin. So that's a good spoiler right there. But we got to talk about the rest of Major League Baseball here. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Kevin, before we talk about Jeff Passan's list, I wanted to. Do you know some of the lyrics of Whistle?
I mean, I do know them. I mean, I can also pull them up, but I mean, I listened to it enough as a kid to have it seared in my memory. Do you have them? Do you know them?
I mean, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, you can you can put two and two together on some of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, the first line after the chorus, look, I'm betting you like people and I'm betting you like freak mode.
Yeah, well, that's not as subtle.
No doubt Kevin was singing this.
Kevin was singing that.
I had no idea.
At the friend's school.
No idea. Yeah, the middle school mixers or high school, formal, semi-formal, just, Yeah, but the other one, actually, I forgot to look. I got so entrenched in our conversation. The other one that I was like younger, actually, I have two. Well, I'll tell the first one first. My dad had one of those older iPods and one of those just very miniature stereo that, you'd plug the iPod into and it was a speaker. And his friend had downloaded a bunch of music. My dad is very alternative, isn't heavy into
Was it legal downloads or illegal?
Yes, legal downloads.
Because there was there was a time of LimeWire was a big thing back in the day.
No, this was all legal. And so my dad's friend downloaded music, and the second song on his iPod was Candy Shop.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there, I'm a kid, I don't know what any of it means. I'm like, oh, he's licking lollipops and having fun and doing his thing, and
there's so many options here at the store. Yeah.
Just too many to even think about. And so that was that was one. And then the other one was Love Game by Lady Gaga.
Yep. Oh, I know exactly where you're going with that one. Yeah. And we can pull up those lyrics for later. I already remember the beginning
that's
part.
My big three.
That's your big three
of songs.
Gosh, I don't know why it's
Whistle,
seared into my
Love
mind.
Game, and Candy Shop.
Let's have some fun. This beat is sick.
Yep. We all know.
Stay tuned for part 2.
We all know what's next.
But you know what? Let's go to part 2 of trade conversations here. Hey now. Well, we did talk about the Texas Rangers. Speaking of baseball, Rangers are back in this thing. They might be a team that's saying, hey, let's go buy some things at the market. Let's go to the trade market and buy, because they're sitting 2.5 games out at this current moment. Guardians, 3.5. And you can look all around baseball. The Cardinals and Giants, 3.5. The Reds, 3.5. I mean, the NL is a lot more challenging given what's happening over there. I mean, San Diego is the 3rd wild card, 10 games over 500. But Jeff Passan and Kiley McDaniel just put out their top 50 MLB trade targets as we approach the deadline. And while no Orioles are at the top spot, that belongs to Mr. Suarez out there in Arizona, which they're trying to creep back into this. But I'll tell you what, he might have the most value and by far the best bat that could be available at this deadline. But we did mention earlier that there are a lot of Orioles that teams would probably want. So, Zach, can we pull up the list that Jeff Passan had there and where the Orioles rank?
Yeah, so first off, we got Ryan O'Hearn at 15, I believe. Then it is Felix at 19 and Cedric at 21 on the list. A few others down in the, I believe Charlie Morton and Zach Eflin actually fell in between the 30s and 50s in that as well. But yeah, at the moment, Ryan O'Hearn is the top, quote unquote, Oriole to be traded with a trade chance of 85%. Best fits are Seattle, Boston, San Francisco, and looky there, Texas.
Everything's bigger down there in Texas. You know what? I think the Rangers, it would be actually a pretty interesting fit. Seattle definitely seems like they're going to go for it. You know, pair that with the big dumper out there. Ryan O'Hearn, gritty hitter. Mm-hmm. Boston's interesting. They need a first baseman. I'm just trying to read out them in general. You know, and it's not that the Orioles wouldn't trade in division. Hell, they just traded with the Rays. It's just more so
be a little bit more, though, I think.
Yeah. You know what I'm really curious? San Francisco, I have a hard time
that doesn't make sense
seeing it because it's short. I mean, I know it's short term, but I don't see any chance of you re-signing Ryan O'Hearn if San Fran goes there. Texas, Seattle are intriguing. I think that could even be intriguing long term if someone's going after Ryan O'Hearn. So I like that. I think that's fair to say, guys, Ryan O'Hearn, unless he's given an extension to stay in Baltimore, I feel like this is going to be pretty accurate. This is something that's going to be a sad day, but I feel like they're moving towards this. Yeah. Right? What's next on the list?
Yeah, so next on the list, I'm just going to go down instead of switching up. We have Felix Bautista at 15%, but he is the number 19.
19th?
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah,
this is where what I was saying earlier, because like some of the names that are ahead of him, like I don't know, like I understand it, you know, for some of these, but even like Griffin Jacks, like I can't come to terms. Like Zach Gallen's 5.7 ERA. At the time of this, 6.04 ERA is 12. Like that's not better than Felix Bautista. That's like name. That. So I get it. He's coming off Tommy John, all that, but Felix Bautista, you got to be blown away. 15%. I'd probably put it closer to 10, but I'm not going to nitpick.
I might put it at 2.
Yeah, I'd probably go 5.
I find it very hard to see that it would be that big unless Jeff Passan and them know about a trade package that we don't know that's floating out there.
Andrew Painter,
like
Mick Abel.
Yeah, like if there's something by the Dodgers, I almost said the Eagles, Phillies, Detroit, and Texas. Like if one of them is giving up a haul, then yeah. But I'll even go this for like Los Angeles. Their top prospects that you would want, like their 2 top guys, are both outfielders. I don't know if the Orioles need more outfielders. Philly, obviously, unless they're giving up Abel or Painter, which I don't think they would really do right now. Detroit, I've not even really looked, to be honest, with
I really don't think, unless it's one of the heavy hitters like Philly or LA, I just don't see anything. The juice. We went through the list the other week, Zach, of starting pitchers that are top prospects.
Mm-hmm.
The Mets was like one of the ones we could see. Toronto has one guy in the top 10 in that region. And then it's just the Phillies. The Phillies have top arms in Painter and Abel, but I don't think they're going to give up Painter. And I think that's what it's going to take to have to get Felix. But they are desperate, by the way. You just saw Kevin, David Robertson's back. Mr. Robertson, $12 million.
Maybe they can get Kyle Gibbs on a retirement and turn him into a reliever for him.
They could. They could. Kyle want to come back for one last ride, even though he almost retired.
One last ride.
One last.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just shocked that he's 19. If it's because of the chance for him to get traded, that's fine. But if it's just off of sheer talent, how many all-star closers that are 6'8" and pushing 3 bills that throws a fuzzball and a split piece that is out there? I don't know many.
Did you ever take BP against Felix?
He was my teammate. Oh, I mean, live BPs, it's not fun, Kevin.
Yeah.
It's like a bowling ball coming at you. Instead of the bowling ball dropping, it just takes off. I'm serious. Like it comes in heavy and then it rises. And then imagine you think the fastball's coming and then that split Johnson just drops off. And you're like, okay, so it's going this way, it's going that way. You know, and Happy Gilmore, what happens with Shooter McGavin. How am I supposed to chip with that going on? How am I supposed to hit?
Yeah.
When Felix Bautista's throwing that, dude. It's he's unbelievable. Zach, next one.
Yeah, next one. We got final one on this list. You have Cedric Mullins at number 21 with a 70% chance of being traded with best fits Philly, Houston, New York. The Mets, the Metropolitans.
My bold prediction with this, the Orioles will make a trade with the Mets. And maybe that's not even bold. I think they're going to make one move with the Mets at some point. I still think they want that pitcher that they drafted.
They definitely want him.
They want Nolan McLean. Yeah, they want him.
I keep wanting to say Reimer because I called a game of his in Aberdeen. But
the Dean?
Yeah, at the Dean. Cedric Mullins is going to be the interesting one. Because I think, especially with everything going on this year, you're not necessarily paying for what he has done this season. You're paying for what you know Cedric Mullins is, which is a damn good glove, a bat, then hell. He led all of baseball for a bit at the beginning of this season in RBIs. I mean, he's an RBI producer. I think you get him in the right lineup, give him a little bit more protection than he has here. A little just change of scenery. I think Cedric Mullins is, quite honestly, I'll put my flag down on this one, could be that move that goes under the radar nationally, at least. Obviously in Baltimore will be a big move, but I think nationally could pick up steam in the playoffs as, holy crap, where would X team be if they didn't acquire Cedric Mullins? Whether it's because of the glove, whether it's because of the bat, I just feel like if you're a contender, and especially a contender that needs help in the outfield, Cedric Mullins is the guy here. Like, it's Cedric Mullins and the rest of them. I just feel like for the value you're going to get him at, all that, Cedric Mullins is, if you are a contender, as much as I would hate to see him go from here, you're a contender, no reason Cedric Mullins is not at the top of your list.
Yeah, I mean, if Cedric gets traded, though, it's going to hurt. I mean, it. You guys know I love Ceddy. I would love, if the Orioles would commit to him, I'd love for him to be here long term. Mm-hmm. You know, I just think that he embodies what you want, but I understand, and we get it. He's not a 27-year-old player. He's a 31-year-old player. It's going to be a free agent. And you have prospects, and you have to make decisions, and they are going to suck. And when that time comes, Kevin said we're taking 4 tequila shots each.
Wow. Wow.
To
Don't
talk
you still
about
have
it.
to take 20 tequila shots for 20,000 subs?
I don't think
in a row.
That was the full agreement.
Wow.
Just like it wasn't the full agreement that we're doing a 24-hour stream
Well, you might not be, but I am.
The stream is
are.
happening.
Stream's happening. We'll be here for 24 hours.
Whether we're here or not, someone will be
I'm
live.
just gonna. I feel like it's gonna get to the point where it's gonna be in a few hours of Kevin just doing random stuff around the studio.
Have you?
I definitely, we need to get hooking up the video games to the board over there.
Oh, without there's gonna have to be.
We could honestly do like a full. Do either of you have 25 college football 25?
I have 25, not 26.
I
yet,
have N64 Mario Golf and NFL Blitz. I broke out Mario Golf the other day. The original Blitz is unbelievable.
Multiple franchises, tournaments.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's gonna be. I'm not gonna lie. I might have to bring in the Wii. I was playing some Wii golf.
Baseball
I was playing some Wii golf down at the down the ocean this weekend.
There are a lot of ideas we can
Wii golf and but it's got to be challenges. I feel like Wii golf, we have to shoot on an 18 course.
The thing though is you can't stream for 24 hours. It only lets you stream for 12. So you have to do two separate.
Oh, really?
It cuts you off after 12 hours.
Have you attempted this?
No, but I know that I don't think
he knows the guy that knows the guy.
He knows a few
that
guys
killed a guy that streamed.
That streamed for 24 hours, but it was cut off after 12.
We would have to have so much content to talk about, by the way. You know what?
There will be, I will say this, the 24-hour stream, if you expect us to be talking ball for 24 hours, this is not the stream. This is going to be probably 3 hours of talking ball and 21 of how are we filling
many
this
shenanigans.
time.
Many shenanigans.
Trying to have Kevin hit full studio length shots or something.
We're going to have multiple workouts, multiple workout challenges.
The wheel will be spun.
Wheel will be spun.
Every ounce of alcohol drank in the studio.
How many shots in a row have you taken? And then we'll continue this baseball.
How many shots in a row have I taken?
Yeah.
In a row? I don't like shots. Probably
you don't say.
2.
Yeah. It checks out.
Give me gin and tonics. I'll do 9 gin and tonics, 9 corn dogs. I'm telling you.
That's what we do.
Maybe I'll literally do that during the 24-hour stream. Maybe I will literally bring in 9 corn dogs, gin and tonic, and I will just do that on the stream. We'll put a baseball game up if we hit it in time, or maybe I'll play a replay of an old one. And
if we hit it in time, I'd hope we. I mean, yeah, I guess they got 2 months left though, Kevin.
Playoff baseball, maybe we could do playoffs.
Oh yeah, playoffs will definitely. I mean, that's
it depends on when we can do it. Is the
playoffs?
Yeah, not all.
No, Kevin, it's the second we hit 24 it starts.
It starts at 24.
Well, help us at 2 a.m. It starts then.
Well, help us get there, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button. Help us get to 24K to see what the hell will go down here at the Ryan Ripken Show. We really don't know. I don't even know our next move.
Clue.
You guys seeing that meme going around? It's like a photo, and it's like
no one knows my next move. Not even
me.
I used to post that about Gary Sanchez. I posted that every time Gary Sanchez did anything.
Yeah, by the way, best part of the trade things is this was the thing that actually cracked Zach up, is that we were getting all these awesome deals for everybody, and then we got to Gary Sanchez, and the AI was just like, you can get cash.
Yeah, they gave us a lower tier. They were giving us Andrew Painter for everyone. We were giving away Tyler O'Neill and getting back Andy Pajes from
who was it? Was it?
And then we literally
the Kobe Mayo trade, where the Kobe Mayo trade was Jared Jones and Tamar Johnson, and then Gary Sanchez was player to be named later and $2 million in cash.
Yeah, I was like, okay, there was a lot of.
The thing is, is this Chat GPT did this with?
Yeah.
So not even in MVP Baseball 05 could you make any of these deals.
I know,
because that's the only. I'll be honest, that's the only recent MLB game that I will play. Because I just don't really. I never got into MLB The Show. Not that I don't like it, just never really got into it. But I remember trying to make trades, and it was a challenge. You keep it on, couldn't, and then the salary cap, or not a salary cap, the luxury tax of things, and stuff. It made it a challenge.
So it was a challenge to start it, because we had to train the AI to know who was on the Orioles. The first one we did was Charlie Morton. And
they kept on giving Braves deals.
Thought he was on the Braves. And so I said, give me a Charlie Morton trade Orioles. And it said the Orioles acquired Charlie Morton for Grayson Rodriguez and Colton Cowser.
Yeah, when we
that
started,
was our first trade. That was our first
up.
trade. It was Charlie Morton to the Orioles, and the Orioles give up Grayson Rodriguez and Colton Cowser.
I told you guys that Charlie Morton's.
If that's the value Charlie Morton has on the trade market right now, then I think the Orioles will be all right.
Oh, they think they would be all right. And yes, Jake, I'm a lot of the old school games, and we don't I like still like Madden was one of the games I played growing up. College football, I haven't gotten the new one yet. So I want to get into all of that. But, when you get older, life gets busier too, and as far as baseball games for me, like the three that stuck out with me growing up was Ken Griffey Jr., Slugfest, Backyard Baseball, and MVP 05. And I will also throw in there that Slugfest was a damn fun game as well because you could just plunk a guy and then just punch the third baseman or wherever the hell you were. It was entertainment. But I digress. To close this trade topic with Jeff Passan, though, I think the one I'll be the most curious, it's not an Oriole, is what do relievers go for? I saw Bednar on that list, right? What happens with him in Pittsburgh? Do teams like the Twins move some of their big names? Duran, Ryan, which I don't think that they will. Who else? I think Suarez to me is, though, would the Yankees give up a haul to get him? And you're hearing that the Diamondbacks, they got to make a choice. But talk about a team that's got a lot of talent to give and talk about guys that have underperformed. Zach Gallen's in a contract here.
Yeah.
And he's struggling. I think he's way better than his ERA, but tough time to have a rough year. But we're going to figure out all of that. But make no mistake, these names that are going to be talked about, teams are going to fight over some of these players because so many teams think that their team has a chance. And if you do it right, you can get the right investment. And this is why also this is different than any other sport, in my opinion. It's not like football. That was one of the other tweets I saw of comparing value. In football, Kevin, because I know Locked On Kevin, Locked On Ravens, you guys should and subscribe to the channel there.
Yes, thank you.
Football, typically, when you make trades, it's usually if you trade a great player, draft capital is the big part that gets traded here, and then you try to knock out that pick. Now we have seen, like this past year, the Steelers traded Minka to get Jalen Ramsey and also got Jonnu Smith, right? Draft pick as well. But when you look at other teams, Tyreek Hill getting traded, draft picks. Laramie Tunsil being moved around, draft picks. The Ravens getting Roquan Smith, draft pick.
And a linebacker.
Right? So the point is, in baseball, you're trading mainly for current players. Like the competitive picks now, that's a new thing.
Yeah.
That's very new. And you're not going to know for 3 or 4 years.
Right.
But how about this? Like, this is the example. The Nationals with the Juan Soto trade there, and I'd even argue the Padres trading Juan Soto to the Yankees. Both those, they got players that were going to help their team in the short term and long term. And it worked. It did. Yeah. Nationals got 3 All-Stars already in Gore, James Wood, and C.J. Abrams. So there is a lot of value for making these trades, and it's a way different system with how baseball works. So I just wanted to point that out, and that's why we're not going to fully know what's going to happen. I guess we'll find out in 9 days. But if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. If you guys want to be a part of the channel and talk about more of these discussions off air or after dark, we do a Rip After Dark, which is more off the cuff with our Holy Shirts and Pants members. And we do have our channel members get a little bit of a taste of that as well. We are going to have a Holy Shirts and Pants Fantasy Football League coming up this year. So if you're interested in some foosball, we are doing that. But a way to connect more with us on the personal, on the low, join the channel. And again, it helps us make this a better experience for each and every one of you out there. We're based out of Baltimore. We talk about a lot of things, baseball, football, and maybe everything in between. Songs, tequila shots, streaming, games, pop culture.
Oh, yeah.
Whammy. We have another baseball topic we will get into in just a moment. But I also would like to thank our sponsor, Merit Clubs, by the way. Shout out Merit Clubs. And we're actually going to have Sean, who we had on earlier a couple weeks ago. Sean's going to come in Thursday, Zach, to help us debunk some myths
Love
but
it.
also we might get a little workout session. Maybe we have.
Why not?
Sean has to spin the wheel, which our guests are going to have to put in what we're doing. But yeah,
I'm in.
We're in.
Hopefully his push-ups are better than mine.
Oh, you did a great job. Valiant job.
It was the effort. It was the effort.
Valiant job. Well, guys, it is crazy enough football season. Technically, it's not going to feel like it for another month, not until September, to be honest. But training camp kicked off in Baltimore. Veterans reported and hope to be all pro. Again, Nick Moore reported today. Apparently, he wants to be back on the show. He quadruple texted me, Kevin.
He reporting to training camp, but has not reported to the studio in
That's
ever, actually, since it's been redone.
Since ever.
Which is almost like it's over a year now.
September, last September.
Oh, was it September? Okay,
yeah.
So almost a year. Almost a year.
No, it was because he's never seen the studio like this, and this was August.
It was
It's about a year.
Okay. Yeah, it's about a year.
If we just, it's so facto, Nick Moore hasn't been in studio.
Yes.
Whose fault is that? Nick Moore. So, but for the Ravens, hey, he's getting ready. And it's a big year for the Birds. And actually, the biggest question mark is going to be on special teams this year going into the camp. And we're not here to talk about storylines because it's so early, at least in Baltimore. The only true storyline around the NFL is actually an AFC North rival. The Bengals have a little bit of an issue at the moment. They got their star defensive end, Trey Hendrickson's holding out for a new contract. And then their first-round pick, who's also on the defensive side, Shamar Stewart, has not signed and hasn't reported, and actually took a step further and wanted to play this clip real quickly. And don't worry, we're getting back into baseball. But owner of the Bengals, Mike Brown, talked about the language issue in the contract for Shamar. And let's just say that they just can't come to an agreement yet. But let's play that clip, Zach, real quickly, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
This one is surprising. I hesitate to get into the detail, but basically it turns on whether out years are guaranteed if he gets involved in conduct detrimental to football. Well, what does that mean? Detrimental to football in recent years has been violence to women. That's about the one that comes to mind. There are others probably, but that's the one that I think of. Well, if we get a player who gets involved in something like that or does something that is just unacceptable, guess what? I don't want to pay him. I really don't. If he's sitting in jail, I don't think I ought to be paying him. And so we say that if he got involved in conduct detrimental, we'd have the right to terminate the guaranteed part for the back years. He says, or his agent says, oh no, you can terminate the guaranteed part only for the remaining part of the year in which the event occurs. Oddly, something like this has never occurred in my memory with us.
So that the clip can go on and on. So if I'm hearing this correctly, Kevin, it's essentially saying that the holdup there of signing is over the language of guaranteed money if something were to happen. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Which, by the way, in baseball, you know, they have now tried to change that, especially after the PED usage of putting in the contracts that players could lose the money or the contract could be void. I know that people want to bash the Bengals all the time, but I don't think it's crazy to think if you're signing a first-round pick or you're signing anybody, I don't even know why I'm looking over there.
No.
But if he were to have conduct detrimental to the team or there's an incident, jail time, which he literally mentioned jail time.
Yeah.
Saying, I don't feel like I should have to pay for that if we decide to move on or whatever it may be, right? Like, I feel like, I hate to say it, I might be siding with Cincy in this case. Am I nuts?
I mean,
yes.
I am nuts.
It's nuts, but I agree. I never thought I'd be saying this.
No.
Mike Brown is right. Why if the guy? I just don't think.
Kevin, I'm curious on your point. In a second.
Kevin, how? But if I agree, like it makes sense if the guy is conduct detrimental to the team. Like I don't think this is talking about if he gets a DUI. If he this is like if he's in jail.
He literally said in jail.
Like but why are we assuming he's going to go to jail?
I'm not. But that's the language.
That was the example that they said.
I know that's the example. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about him. Why did?
Well, he did say domestic. A domestic. I think the first thing was saying a domestic issue, if that was something, or going to jail. So I'm sitting there going, well, there's a lot of things you can go to jail for, Kevin.
I mean, yes,
you know what I mean.
I understand.
Apparently, in Arkansas, if you say the name wrong, you can go to jail or get arrested. That was. We got to maybe you can put that to the test. But so you're on the side that you're not with the Bengals on this.
I mean, I think they've handled it poorly. The reports have been that Shamar Stewart and it's Trey the whole Trey Hendrickson thing and Shamar, like it's both of them combined. But with Shamar Stewart in particular, I think that the reports have been that Stewart is not asking for anything overly like wild. But the Bengals are trying to set a new precedent. And that, to me, is the issue. And you talk about fully guaranteed contracts and that was more of a second-round thing. And the Bengals actually did pony up the money for their second-rounder and gave him, I think, the most guaranteed money ever for the number 49 selection, which was good for the Bengals. But I just don't – like, you can get good or bad production from a guy or something good or bad can happen, injuries, off-field stuff. That comes with every single player. In my opinion, I don't think that you should box somebody in when
I agree. I think what I'm seeing right here, VT Raven is saying anything that could result in a suspension, which could imply personal fouls. And now if that's true, where it's something on the field, a personal foul, and it's getting really ticky-tacky,
yeah,
sure. But if it's conduct off the field,
yeah, well, because now that is very different.
It's very different.
That's very different.
Because that's subjective. That's subjective to the league, then too. Like you say, like targeting plays and everything that happens.
That makes sense. I understand why he wouldn't like that. But the whole like when Mike Brown was like, "If you're in jail, I don't think I should be paying him." I agree. Now I don't know the precedent that's been set prior. I know this is like a very.
Yes, you should not. Like, if the guy is in jail, it's different. But like, why is that what Mike Brown is thinking about? That is my thing. Like, why are we all of a sudden assuming that like this?
Well, we have to also remember this is Mike Brown. Like just because I agree with him here doesn't mean he's always been the most rational.
Yeah. We're not saying that the Bengals ownership has the track record of being, hey, let's go play for Cincy. But at least recently they did just pay the two big toys for Joe Burrow. They did just pay Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, which. So they funded the offense. They need to fund the defense. I don't know. It is just, I think just the way it's been brought up, it's something that we really haven't heard.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't have a problem with, a guy does something bad and you don't want to pay the guy. Like, sure. I mean, if a guy does something bad, then yeah, I get it. But like, why are we assuming he's going to do something bad? Like that's my thing. That's where my problem lies. Not so in the comments that like, oh, if someone does something bad, then you don't want to pay him money. You don't want to quote unquote reward him, but he hasn't done anything. Like that would be a different conversation if he had like.
If this is a special thing, like if they are trying to push something that hasn't happened before, whatever the precedent is, then by all means,
the reports have been, he is asking for what the other first round picks have gotten or similar to it. And the Bengals are saying, we want to set a new precedent and give you less. And that is where his agent and himself are saying, we don't want to do that. And the Bengals are like, well, then we're not going to pay you. And it's that apparently is what has been going on. Maybe it's shifted. But I talked about this on the National Lockdown NFL show for this morning, where it'd be one thing if the Bengals were like, well, we're going to play hardball with Shamar Stewart because we have Trey Hendrickson locked up to a long-term deal, so we don't have to worry about the pass rush. Or man, we can play hardball with Trey Hendrickson because we just signed our first-round pick, Shamar Stewart. They are doing it with both, and they have nothing on defense. And I think that these comments, to me, especially now apparently Trey Hendrickson is in Florida and they couldn't agree to a deal. So that's a whole wrinkle in this.
Yeah, that caused the problem.
Yeah. I personally have a problem with assuming the worst here.
I agree with that.
That's my thing.
Okay, and I agree with that. Yeah. You should give the benefit of the doubt. But I just meant if this is something that they're trying to change that isn't in other contracts, like it isn't kind of like the language of other contracts, then sure, it's like, why the hell are we getting to this point? And also, if you draft a player, you got to understand these are the parameters. But I will say I don't blame if there's a worry about guaranteed money and it's in that framework. I can understand why the Bengals would be more hesitant. It just seems like whatever this is, regardless of either side, it's not good for the Bengals. It's not good for the team.
Yeah, and I interviewed Shamar's agent when he was okay. I interviewed Shamar.
Time out.
Not about Shamar Stewart. This was when Dalvin Cook had just signed because he represented Dalvin Cook, and Zay recently moved to a different agency.
Should have led with that.
He was well, he is.
I was thinking like you had him on yesterday. I was like, okay, Kevin. I was
no. But those conversations and the conversation I had with him, it wasn't necessarily about contracts, but the way that, especially at like smaller agencies, and not that LAA is small, they have a good clientele, but these guys fight for their guys. And the fact that, right now, at least recent reporting here, as I'm just pulling up an article to give us a little bit of context, is that the Bengals director of player personnel, Duke Tobin, said that he doesn't understand the advice that Shamar Stewart is getting. And then Hiller said, this guy isn't even involved in the negotiations. So it's a huge mess. Now, ownership, my thing, and if you want to, I don't know, are we going to talk about Parsons at all, or can I just loop this
you can loop it in now, because it's in the realm.
I think the entire NFL world is watching this. The entire sports world is watching this. And I think everybody right now is saying, as much as, not every owner, is going to come out there and just make disrespectful comments about players like Jerry Jones did about Micah Parsons, or Mike Brown, in my opinion, did about Shamar Stewart. But man, maybe the best thing to say is just nothing at all. Maybe the best thing to say is just nothing at all. So it's about the contract language. And, if this was some common thing and the Bengals were just going to the status quo, there are only 2 unsigned rookies now in the entire league. Shamar Stewart and Quinshon Judkins. And Judkins obviously has his whole off-field thing, and that's going on. But for Shamar Stewart, there is none of that. Like, if Mike Brown said that about Quinshon Judkins, who, there's this whole thing out about, and he's like, oh, we have to get the facts and do all this and do all that. We have to see how it unfolds. But I want to wait to see. That's a different conversation. But he's saying it about a player that didn't do anything. So I know that you're with me on that. And I understand.
Yeah, I know, 1,000% with you.
The big thing is that, and Jake Lisco, who is one of the hosts at Locked On Bengals, he said this a while ago, and it pertains to the Bengals, and that's why I'm going to say it. But for all these teams, especially with Hendrickson, you are losing $1 million today to lose out on $5 million tomorrow because of how these deals are structured and negotiated. Where, what if Micah Parsons signs tomorrow and he either resets the market or gets close to doing it, and all of a sudden Trey Hendrickson maybe is at a certain price point, he sees that money go up and he says, all right, now I want even more than what I was asking for before. Mm-hmm. We saw them do it with Jamar Chase. They waited, they tried to save money, guys signed, and then Jamar ended up wanting more, and they had to sign him for more. We saw it with Dak Prescott. We saw it with CeeDee Lamb in Dallas. It's just like, I get that you don't want to set a precedent, and I think a good example of that not happening actually is with the Ravens, where they did not accept Linderbaum's 5th-year option because it was going to reset the center market by about $5 million in one swoop. So that's an opportunity where you can deny an option or not go with, okay, we're going to just reset the market, pay the guy the max amount of money that we can, or, right around. There are certain ways to do it, but I just feel like with the Bengals, they're always behind the 8 ball. They're not known for being particularly an organization that is willing to spend in certain situations.
That's true.
And it just feels like they continue to play into that every day this goes on for 2 players that they really kind of need this year, because honestly, it is a travesty to Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and D. Higgins that they are putting those 3 through this, because I think that is a good enough trio to compete every single season when you have a good team around you, and the Bengals just don't right now. And they're missing opportunities.
They're going to be there in my mind. They're going to be, they're just get ready. The Ravens and Bengals are going to have these
It'll
wild
still be
games.
50-50.
It's always going to happen. because Jamar Chase is on the field. Doesn't matter who's on him. He loves seeing purple and black.
Yeah.
For the most part, he does. And they're entertaining games. But, yeah, missing your big pieces. I think overall, though, Zach, I think at the end of the day, I don't blame if they feel there's a contract language, but I think we can all agree that if we're nickel and diming players, you need to get – this is becoming a Bengals problem, and it is self-inflicted. You could help solve this problem. They're not. I don't blame fully for the Shamar, but they're at fault because they're not getting it done. And then obviously you pissed off your best defensive player who's sitting at home, who you are going to need. They need Trey Hendrickson, especially to kind of set the tone on defense.
Yeah, and to kind of wrap this up, I looked at CBS, I looked at ESPN, and then I'm looking at just kind of some stuff because I was very confused why the Bengals are trying to get this. So the Bengals are actually one of the only teams that do not have this clause in. It is very common. The rest of the NFL has this clause. So the Bengals are one of the most teams, I looked up, most teams in the league include a clause in rookie contract that allow them to void guarantee money if a player's conduct is deemed detrimental to the team. So the Bengals are trying to catch up with the rest of the league. Now that hurts them because the previous 3 years for first round picks, they've been one of, if not the only team to not include that clause. Where it gets fishy and I guess a little weird is I guess that Shamar and them are okay with the clause. It's specific wording in it that they feel like leads it kind of what we're saying up to judgment. To, Shamar and them are like, hey, if I'm in jail, you don't have to pay me. Like, that's fine. But I think it's the things of, okay, what do you mean if I get suspended at all? Even if it is for a flagrant, a hit on the quarterback, a helmet-to-helmet hit, now I'm losing my guarantees for the year. I think it's from what I'm reading, if I read it correctly, it's specific wording that is within it's differentiating. So I guess the wording is the thing. I guess it's not the clause because that's common, but it's, I guess they're maybe going a little extreme with the clause, which is why they're talking about wording being the issue. So I think that also changes it, is that it is a commonality for that clause to be in. I think they're just going a little bit extreme with it, and that's where the back and forth is happening right now.
I think the hardest thing right now then too, to close it out, I think any player, but specifically in the NFL, your first training camp, I think, is really valuable. And when you miss opportunities to be there for your first training camp, this isn't holding out 3 or 4 years later. This is your first year trying to get your feet wet. It matters to be in the building. So whoever wants to take blame and, having this conversation, Kevin, I'm always for the players. Yeah. I think you got to pay Shamar. You get it figured out. I don't blame that the Bengals are hesitant, but this whole situation is costing the team. You got to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And especially if you're talking about your development of your player, this is not great for Shamar's development. Be there with your teammates, figure it out. I'd say the same thing with Judkins, and that's a legal situation. The more you're there to start, the better off you're going to be. You're a rookie for a reason. Even if you have all the talent in the world, you got to get comfortable in new surroundings because it matters when trying to figure out how to be a damn pro. So we're going to have a lot of football down the road here. Don't you worry. We got a hell of a lot of baseball still coming your way. And Kevin, well done. Well done on the conversation and points.
Oh, thank you.
Good job.
We're proud of you.
Thank you.
You're a good
That's
kid.
That's what we are. We like to talk about things and put out different points of view. That's what we do here.
Yep. No.
We like to talk about things.
Yeah, we like to talk about some things. Sometimes. Hey, we also like to talk about some bets and see how we're doing. So why don't we take a quick trip to our friends up at Hollywood Casino and Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Yeah.
We've had better.
I think
I like it. We've had better. We've had better, but we've had worse. First time 3-man team in a few weeks. So it's like, we just got to
get back in the swing.
Yeah, a little bit more energy, a little bit more pizzazz, It's like, you got to imagine you're singing Whistle, Kevin, or Love Game.
Yeah.
You got to have that type of mentality. I saw you getting worked up over there, getting frisky.
Regardless of the lyrics, they are all bangers. So
I love it, Kevin.
Can't discount it.
I don't care. I love it. I love it. You know what, though, Zach? We finally had something to love, and that was your bet last week for the Open. My friend, your parlay.
Yeah,
Hit.
Put it on Kevin. Yeah, back in the win column. I'm actually upset because this bet that I'm taking today went from minus 140 to minus 180. So a lot less juice than I was really thinking we had on it. But yes, last time we talked, there wasn't much sports going, so I gave you guys a quick parlay to get you just around plus 100 with Rory McIlroy finishing 10th and in the top 10 and Scotty Scheffler finishing in the top 5. Scotty Scheffler is a show-off and won the whole damn thing by like 7 strokes. And then Rory McIlroy finished 6th, which is in the top 10. Not great for my finished top 5 bet that I placed solo beforehand, but that's a whole different thing. That's a whole nother thing. That was so fun to watch the final hole when he didn't hit the birdie. Today we're going maybe potentially last start in Pittsburgh. And I know he's facing a Detroit Tigers lineup that did look fierce for a while, but maybe coming back down to earth. Mitch Keller over 17.5 outs recorded.
Ooh.
Which means we're sitting there. He has to go 6 innings. 6 innings. He's went that 11 of his last 13 starts, including, I believe, 4 of his last 5. And Tigers are not hitting righties well recently, so I think this is a very good spot. Mitch Keller, I mean, let's just call it what it is. Potentially pitching for the last time in Pittsburgh. Maybe a bit of celebration from him because maybe he can get some run support in his next team. But we're going to go Mitch Keller over 17.5 outs recorded. Give me 6 innings and then take a load off, grab a beer, and, hit the showers, Max. Or Mitch.
Hit the showers, Max.
Good job.
Is that what you're going to tell me? Come off. So you're gonna walk out to the mound, or he comes off the mound, and you give him the handshake, and you're going to tell Max,
which
hit
he'd
the
be
showers,
like,
and he goes, actually,
my name.
Or you'd be like, only my friends call me Max.
I was
my
looking
name
at
is
Casey
Mitch.
Mize somehow, and I combined Mitch and Mize. I just went Max.
Yeah,
because that's the perfect
It's a
combination.
combination.
You're in your NFL owner era more than you think. Because with Jerry Jones, you're more like Jerry than you think you are. Jerry Jones called Michael Parsons yesterday. So
Michael.
Only his friends call.
So, but that's why
Michael.
apparently that's why Michael Parsons isn't signed yet because Jerry's negotiating with Michael Parsons, not Micah. So
Michael's about to sign.
Yeah,
and then tonight, if you lose your bet, you probably bet on Max Keller.
Yeah.
Oh,
Max
perfect.
Kellerman instead of Mitch Keller.
Bet on Max Kellerman.
You bet on Max Kellerman.
Okay, so that's okay. You know what? That's
Maybe
where it was sounding
that should be what's
familiar.
introduced next.
That's where it was. I was like, Max Keller. I was like, I don't know
that
Max
definitely
Keller.
is what it was.
That's where. Okay,
we should definitely make our own sports book that only has TV props. Like, how many times will Nick Wright say the Ravens don't have a good team? Over or under 5.5
in one show.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then I have the perfect plan. It'll all come crashing and burning when we start putting props on our show, and then we just make infinite money.
Oh, so
they have.
So we're the house.
Shohei Ohtani's interpreter went to prison for that. There are like multiple investigations because of people doing this stuff.
Yeah, Kevin.
Michael Beasley.
Kevin, this is we have code here. We have ethics.
I said for controlling the sports lines and having people bet and then winning money. It's like that. There have been a few.
There's an investigation going on right now with a pitcher in Cleveland still.
Yeah, I know.
Got extended because they're wondering a couple pitches. Oh no, it's a ball. You know?
That's crazy, by the way. Like 1 millimeter could determine his career.
Yeah.
Well, it's
you
mainly because of the amount of money that was put on there. I think it's less about
that's what happened with. Remember, we talked about the DeJounte Porter situation last year, where there was an obscene amount of money placed on all the unders of DeJounte Porter.
Yeah,
and then he left the game after 10 minutes being injured and shooting 0 of 8 from the field, and then he got banned from the NBA. So,
and then he got banned from the NBA.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's not banned from Major League Baseball. Max Kellerman, who's on the mound tonight.
Yeah.
So
you can bet on tonight.
If you want to take Max Kellerman, or Mitch Keller is what his friends call him, actually, then you can go on over to the ESPN Bet app and tail Zach, or you can fade him and take the other option. And as always here, over or under, guys, over or under. It's under 1 second. Yeah, easily.
Boom.
And if you go to ESPN Bet, you bet $10, you get 100 in bonus bets, plus you get ESPN Plus. The first 30 days are on them. You got to download the app, but you must be 21 or older. If you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or our friend Rocco DeSangro. But, guys, we appreciate our friends up at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia.
Don't actually manipulate the market. Don't do that.
No, Kevin, we're not. That was never an option.
Well, I'm just warning you. I was just joking.
Kind of.
What is Kevin involved in that he wants that on record?
I'm just saying I'm joking.
Kevin's like, yeah,
I
would never do that.
swear I didn't do it.
You know what, Ryan, you might have to take the guaranteed clause out of my contract, or exercise that clause in my contract.
You know what? Well, you know what we might try to do? I wonder if ChatGPT can have trade values for the show.
I'm gonna actually see if I can put your name in and get something.
Well, in 2000 and
well, I'm gonna see because it had.
Oh, God.
All right, let me do this. All right, make me a Ryan Ripken trade. Oh, I'm so excited for this.
I'm not excited for this. We do have to talk about Kobe Mayo. Do we talk about that today? I think we have to.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's definitely talk about that as we wrap up.
Oh, here is a fictional trade scenario involving Ryan Ripken. Keeping in mind he's a former minor league first baseman.
All right.
Let's assume Ryan Ripken is still playing in AAA. All right, so that's what they're going off of. You're getting traded to Milwaukee.
Oh, 10 straight.
Dude,
that's
they're
big.
winning culture.
How do you feel? How do you feel?
Big.
You're heading to Milwaukee.
And you know what? They know how to win. They do a lot of little things right.
You, Joey, and DL. All
There you
hanging out
go.
there.
I'm afraid of what I got traded for.
You got traded for Jake Dillard, a 25-year-old relief pitcher with high strikeout upside and cash considerations, or a player to be named later.
Damn right.
Now, what I'm going to do next is make me a better Ryan Ripken trade to see if we can maybe get a return here. All right, a bit more fun and imaginative is apparently what this one is going to be.
Oh, boy.
Oh, this is apparently the comeback story edition. Okay, so the Orioles are trading you to either the Long Island Ducks, which are just the Atlantic League, or the Athletics.
I didn't know I could be traded to an Atlantic League team.
Or no, this thinks you're on
The Ducks?
No, yeah, it thinks you're on the Athletics. Make me a better Ryan.
Make me a better one.
Yeah, make me the best.
If Shohei's not involved in this, I don't care.
It says now you're on the Lexington Counterclocks.
I mean, electric. That's got to be a good hat.
That's a wild name.
That's got to be a great hat, by the way.
It says that you are a clubhouse leader and fan favorite. Yeah.
You know what? Don't want to toot my own horn there, but if there's one thing I was known for, maybe it wasn't all my success in the baseball field. It was about, I think I was a good teammate and I tried to be the best I could for the people that came to watch us. I tried. Could I hit some balls at times? Yes. If I could be hitting balls better, I mean, fuck, I'd still be playing right now. You know what I mean? Or just didn't get hurt all the time. But I digress.
This says that you are traded for Chris Owings.
Chris Owings, I think I played against.
He was in the league.
I think he was a third baseman, outfielder.
Yeah. He was actually in the Orioles organization at one point.
Was he?
Yeah. He was in the Orioles
in 2022, the year after me. Yeah, I faced him.
Oh, he was around for a while. He had a 10-year career.
Yeah,
no, I didn't face him. I lied. He's older than me.
Yeah, but
no,
he's older by
he is older than me.
Old. I mean, he was 31 and 23. So
yeah, good for him. Good for Chris Owens. I'd take that.
I was gonna say I would take this career in a heartbeat. What's his 1.3 WAR player?
Damn
right. Had
right.
over 2,300 at bats.
Hell yeah.
37 homers in his career, 550 hits.
Oh, this one says you are traded for Colton Wong.
Who just retired? Hell yeah, retired
Long
for
just
retired. I don't know if I'd have to waive my no trade clause here with the Ryan Ripken show.
Yeah.
You know, here was one thing I put on Google Gemini, by the way.
Okay.
Let me share the screen, and then yeah, we got to talk about Kobe Mayo not playing any baseball games because he hasn't played a lot this July, even though he's had a good start. Where is I just had it here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Google Gemini. Let's pull this up. You guys see it? Are we there?
Yes, I can see.
Yep.
All right. So when you ask about the trade value for the Ryan Ripken show, it's important to clarify which Ryan Ripken show you're referring to, as Ryan Ripken is no longer an active professional baseball player. But based on current information, Ryan Ripken is involved in sports media as a content creator and podcaster. He hosts the Ryan Ripken Show on platforms like YouTube and serves as an analyst for it's Baltimore Baseball Tonight, which I'm on tonight on 105.7 The Fan. Yeah. Therefore, his trade value would not be in the context of professional baseball transaction. Instead, it would be the realm of media or content creation. His trade value around audience size and engagement, content quality and niche, sponsorship and advertising potential, brand recognition, and versatility. Can he host, interview, provide analysis, and adapt to different media formats? I like to think so. So if you were trading for the Ryan Ripken show, you'd be looking to acquire all of those things.
Wow. That's a good pitch.
Yeah.
Let me look if I can see if they know. Oh, they have you. Yeah, this makes sense. They have Zach on here, but not any of the others. It says the primary host is Ryan Ripken. He often is joined by Zach, who appears to be a regular co-host and contributor to the discussions. No last name. You're just Zach. That's it.
Well, they refer to me as his mate.
Yeah,
and we've made progress.
This is Ryan, and this is his mate.
And then the show also frequently features various guests, including Bryce Whitlow, all are pretty good, Jim Duquette, Jonathan Mayo, current and former MLB players, including Ryan O'Hearn, John Means, and Joe Flacco. And
does it actually say Joe Flacco on there?
Yes, it does. And other sports media personalities. Essentially, it's Ryan Ripken leading the show with a consistent co-host and Zach and a rotating cast of guests. So I guess Brad, Rocco, and I do not exist.
The limit does not exist.
I mean, show up, you get in the AI. That's what I'm hearing.
You know what? It's
I show up the second most. Well, I mean,
we're in the middle. We're in the middle.
Yeah, Brad and I are decently consistent, but also inconsistent.
Consistently inconsistent. Yeah. But, you know, I guess AI is starting to pick up on things. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Well, that's our little banter here. As we get closer to wrapping up then the show, we do got to talk about one more juicy conversation, at least involving our friends in Baltimore, and specifically for Orioles fans, because this is probably one of the most, if it's not to do with trades, this is the most frustrating or polarizing conversation with Birdland right now. And it's around one of their top prospects, Kobe Mayo. Kobe Mayo's been in the big leagues now, guys, for the last couple months, right? He's been up, and it looked like he was getting on a roll to end June, and then July rolled around, and you thought we'd see some more of Mr. Mayo. And as we're recording this, Kobe Mayo has had 11 plate appearances the entire month of July. It is July 22nd. But so the reporters asked interim manager Tony Manzolino about the situation with Kobe Mayo. And Zach, if we can pull up that quote real quickly. And for those that are listening on the audio platforms, we do put this out on Spotify and Apple. Leave us a rate and review, by the way. It's all helping. Can you pull that up for us, Zach, real quick? When I move, you move.
Just like that.
There it is. And Andy Koska put out the tweet, but this is the quote from Tony Manzolino on Kobe Mayo as to why he's only had 11 plate appearances this month. We're not fools. We understand carrying him here and him losing some at bats down in AAA. The choice we've made is to get him at bats here, a certain amount, as much as we can, but also to watch the game, slow the game down, and mature. That's end quote. So, guys, I got to be honest. This is a situation that truly does puzzle me. And I know you can look at the conversation of you're trying to win and you got healthier in the infield. So what I mean by that is Westberg's back. You got Gunnar, Jackson. They all got to get regular at-bats. Ryan O'Hearn needs to get his at-bats. And now that you have Tyler O'Neill back, Ryan O'Hearn's playing less outfield, so he plays first. But because of that rotation, the two positions that Kobe Mayo plays, that they're going to play him, is first base and DH, which is fine. But you know what I can't seem to understand is the reason why we thought Kobe was not playing before being brought up was a certain other first baseman that was in Baltimore, a right-handed bat who I still love as a hitter, who I know has had struggles, but he's been hurt now too. And he hasn't played for the last couple months, and that's Ryan Mountcastle. Yeah. So you saw a void for Kobe Mayo to play. And I'm going to pull up the stats here in a second on Kobe as he got going during that stretch where he hit over 300, where it seemed like he was putting things together. And then they just iced him out. And I can't agree with the quote there. I can understand of maturing and understanding, but you know how you figure out if you can hit in the big leagues?
You hit in the big leagues.
You got to hit in the big leagues. And I think it's a really missed opportunity if Ryan Mountcastle comes back. And I love Mountie, by the way. You guys know this. I love him. But Zach, I think what the question is, what is the plan for Kobe Mayo? Because your prospects that you're trying to figure out, this was a golden opportunity that we seem to have missed.
Yeah, it was a massive opportunity missed because you talked about Ryan Mountcastle being out for a few months was the opportunity for Kobe Mayo to get consistent playing time. And he was before guys like Tyler O'Neill came back. But it then turned into when, you get O'Neill back, you get Seti back. It turned into like, okay, there's this rotation of three guys that need to get consistent playing time. And you got to keep them. It's like, okay, if you can get 2 of 3 in each day, keep a rotation, we can keep this going. Everyone wins. What they just did was straight up isolate Kobe Mayo. And I mean, it's unfortunately one of those things where it's like, I feel like the old man yelling at the clouds, where it's that SpongeBob meme where it's like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson? Players cannot develop on the bench. Jackson Holiday last season was not great. He talked about it. To start this year, he had his moments, but still back and forth. When did he start taking off and becoming he's the leadoff guy of the future? Okay, he's this budding superstar. When he was given everyday at-bats. When he was given consistent playing time. When did Kyle Stowers in Miami take off? It wasn't when he first got down there and he got a few at-bats last year. It wasn't just he just needs time. He needed time to adjust in the majors, to figure it out. And that wasn't happening on the bench. I don't understand this logic at all of we're trying to slow the game down to him by having him sit on the bench. That's not slowing the game down at all. That's giving you a very expensive ticket to the baseball game.
Yeah.
Like there's no development happening. There's cheerleading right now. And that's an issue, especially like this isn't like, as much as I want Kobe Mayo up here, he has done what over the past, 20 or 11 plate appearances in 22 days. You sit there and you're like, well, I want Kobe here, but wouldn't it have been a lot better if he at least was getting some game reps in at AAA? Like there were 2 ways to go about this. Either play him every day or not every day, keep him in a rotation. So he's starting 3 times a week, 4 times a week, keep him fresh, get a rotation going in, or you send him to AAA and he gets time there because you got to focus on these guys until the trade deadline. Then when spots open up, it's his way to go. You had the opportunity when O'Neill and Seti came back you had that decision. What you couldn't do is have him sit on the bench, and then by the time we can't even say now, oh, once the trade deadline's back, done with, guys are gone, it's Kobe's team. Because like you said, now Ryan Mountcastle's back. And I can tell you from just someone who's watched how the Orioles operate, they see Ryan Mountcastle and Kobe Mayo probably as the same player. And it's a right-handed first baseman. And I don't know if they're going to be giving Kobe Mayo consistent playing time once Ryan Mountcastle's back. I think it's Ryan Mountcastle's job at first base, which nothing against Ryan Mountcastle, but when you're talking about the development of a young player, that feels like the opportunity missed, because Ryan Mountcastle has earned that when he's healthy, he can play like we see when Ryan Mountcastle's hot, he can carry an offense. He's a damn good player, but the opportunity missed was this time when he was out and you were finally like, okay, we can see what Kobe Mayo can do. And he was doing it. He finally was getting comfortable. Like, this wasn't like he was batting .09 in his final games. He was getting comfortable. He was looking like Kobe Mayo we thought we were going to get. And so that's where it's frustrating.
Yeah, let me pull up the stats here, at least over those last X amount of games, just to give you guys the context, right? So this is that stretch right before July. Kobe played 4 consecutive games, 4 consecutive days with a hit. So 4-game hitting streak. Do the math right there. That's 5 for 13, right? Is that my math right there? Yeah. 5 for 13. It's good. It's building confidence, right? And then I think that the crazy thing for me is only 3 starts in the month of July. And Kevin, it goes back to this bigger conversation of how you're going to develop guys that you want to go out there and play. And this is the dilemma I know that the Orioles face, is that they feel like in the moment you owe it to the team that you have to go out there to try to win games. But also my theory is when you have really good prospects, I think that they have the potential to be great players for what you want. And I do think that they are good prospects. But my point is when you draft well and you have guys that are ranked highly, the only way to see if your theory is right or wrong is you got to commit to them or you got to ship them. Right, Kev?
Yep.
And so for Kobe, this could be a plan that they make moves. Mountie could get moved, right? And they decide that Kobe, okay, you're going to play after the fact and he'll get some ABs. But I think when you have a guy go through it in the moment and he gains confidence in moments of adversity and the Orioles are trying to scratch and claw back, I'd argue that's almost even more valuable because you want him to face a little bit of pressure. And he hasn't. We're dealing with the what if of the Orioles losing some of these games. You're living with the what if of, well, could Kobe Mayo have made an impact in this game that could have made a difference? He might have not. But then again, Kev, he might have. And I think that's what fans just want to see. And you know what's the recency bias? Who's the one player in Miami?
Kyle Stowers. That
they're worried that the next great prospect or next great all-star out there is going to end up being in a uniform with a different team. Yeah. So, I mean, Kev, I think we're all aligned with this. I think it's got to get answers on what Kobe Mayo is going to be.
Yeah, and I mean this might be a weird comparison, but it's a similar situation to the Brandon Hyde versus not Brandon Hyde conversation. And what I mean by that is, even if the Orioles were horrible after firing Brandon Hyde, at least you would have known what that looked like, whether it would have been good or bad. At least you would have gotten the chance to see what it would have been like. And now we are in this situation. And I mean, it hasn't been wonderful, but it's at least been better, I think, than what it was. And so to me, I make the comparison because with Kobe, kind of like what you guys were talking about, I want to see what it is. Like, I want to see, because it might not work. Like you said, like it might be Kobe's not a guy, but at the same time, he earned an opportunity, in my opinion. And I know and everybody else here, his opinion as well, is that same thing. It's not like Kobe was struggling from the plate before he got benched. He was finally turning it around. And it's something I know Zach and I talk about all the time on the post game. And, I thought it was going to be different because of Tony Mansolino's comments about Jackson Holliday in particular, but about getting these guys regular at bats. And I get Jackson it's a different conversation, but at the same time, it's kind of similar where, I get you're trying to win games, but you can't tell me that Tyler O'Neill gives them a better chance to win a game right now than Kobe Mayo does, or some of these other guys. And I understand it's tough trying to get everybody at bats and trying to keep everybody happy. I don't think Kobe Mayo's happy right now with how this is going. Like, if I had to guess.
Oh no, he's definitely not happy.
And he shouldn't be, because of how he performed, and you finally think you're turning that corner. And part of Mountcastle being down is the fact that you don't have anybody looking. You're not looking over your shoulder and being like, man, if I mess up, Mounty's just going to take the spot back and play. And Kobe, I think, was finally playing freely, like we've talked about. And then that gets taken away from him again. And what did he do to deserve it? He's probably sitting there thinking, man, what do I have to do to get regular at-bats in this organization? And even when everything breaks his way, and, you never wish injuries on anybody, of course. Like, I wish Mounty was the opportunity to help you win baseball games. And I think it's, again, I think Kobe's confidence is really important here. And while I know he's confident in himself as a baseball player, how much confidence does he have that the organization has confidence in him? That's a big conversation.
That's a big part right there. Because what was the big thing that Kyle Stowers said down in Miami during this bender right now? He goes, I really thank the front office, the coaches, that they had faith in me, especially after he came over and hit a $186 or whatever he did for 51 games, and then was having an awful spring training. And they brought to him, they said, hey, like, let's talk about this. Let's be open with this. We still trust in you. And that's so important for a player. And I think my part is the Orioles have proven that they can do it. They have done it. They did it with Gunnar and Adley. You're coming up, you're playing, and they did that. Jordan Westburg in 2024, they made the proclamation going into the season in spring training, Jordan's going to play a lot for us. They didn't necessarily do that with Colton Cowser. He played himself into being a guy every day. If you remember correctly, he was the fourth outfielder that made the team, or whatever it was, right? Then he got hot in Boston. He never looked back. I also, when I see the things about Tyler O'Neill, I think Tyler O'Neill, I feel for him when you're hurt and you can't get any rhythm, and everyone's going to hate you more because you're making $16 million a year and you're not producing at that number that you are being paid by the team. And it's going to reflects poorly then on front office of going, well, man, that signing isn't paying dividends. And then for Tyler, I guarantee you he's frustrated because he's like, well, I've been hurt and I know that this is not good enough. He knows that. But the other side of the business, the Orioles are going to have him. I don't think they're going to make any rash decision, and I think he is a talented hitter. Now, I think the reason why they signed Tyler O'Neill, and I heard he's an awesome guy, right? This is nothing about the person, but when you're looking at the business, you know what I really don't like? I really don't like platooning. I really don't. I think you can platoon to an extent on certain positions. Ramon Laureano, great. But who are your everyday guys? And this is the case right here where if there was a spot that was going to be sacrificed so Kobe got more at-bats, I thought it was going to be Ramon Arias, where maybe he loses a few more at-bats. And I don't think that's fair to Ramon because he's played well, but because he was always the utility guy. And I don't know. I think what happened with Kyle Stowers, the perception in his head was he was told he couldn't hit lefties, right? Plays every day. He has a better batting average, at least when I checked yesterday, against lefties than he does righties. Now, more home runs. He's got all of his homers versus righties, but point being made. He's hitting over 300 versus lefties. Sam Basayo, when he comes up, he better face every single pitcher imaginable. And if he falls flat, then he falls flat. But then but you're going to give him the opportunity. I think Kobe Mayo's in that category. He's at a point right now, if you're going to keep him as a Baltimore Oriole, he needs to play. If you're not, well, now's the time, Kevin, to see where if he goes somewhere else. But being in this middle position has not only the player trying to search answers, but it has every fan that watches this organization wondering, what is the next move for this team and for the future of a guy that a lot of people think his upside as a hitter can make a gigantic impact at the big league level. The only way you're going to find out, Zach, like we started this segment off, is you got to let a guy figure out if he can hit in the bigs by hitting in the big leagues.
Yep.
So if you're new to this channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do it live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Woo! Sports,
baby.
Yeah.
sports.
I'm going to go take a shot on the Papa shot. Yeah, I got you right there. You thought I was saying shot of alcohol.
Not
but I didn't
really,
know.
because of the timing of the day. Kevin hasn't been able to shoot that in a while. There you go, 0 for 1. Just have some fun. This beat is sick. Let's play a love game, Kev. So that one you make.
That's who I am, because I make the weird ones but miss the.
Okay, so for those so the ones that are listening, it's just seen Kevin. So Kevin hit 3 in a row with the bounces. I don't think he's hit one nothing but net going in at all. There you go. Yeah, you do have to use your legs more. Basketball, you got to use your legs. No doubt about it. There you go. That is, nope, you're back to being the same. There it is. Now we're getting better. Yeah, we're trying to find more ways that we want to continue to show off the studio, you know, and quite frankly, we love talking sports. We want to do more of this. Maybe not just Kevin. Actually, Kevin's getting in a little bit of rhythm. This is better than I anticipated.
Okay.
There you go, Kev. There you go.
Oh, I like the clap after all of them,
No matter what, just they didn't clap there. You clapped.
Oh, boy.
See, this is no.
Shooting lefties throwing me off. Well, yeah, I know you are a lefty, but I'm just saying every time you do it.
So I just hope when we have some of our guests that are going to be able to join us in the studio, we want to be able to have them enjoy every element of it. We will, since we are getting close to the end of the show here, we are going to have Kyle cooking tomorrow, Iron Rooster, in here cooking with Kyle. We'll be back with a few things. We're actually teasing some, I don't know, some specials that are coming the Iron Roosters way here in August. So stay tuned for that. We are also, for our guests, since you're tuning in, we have a couple. I'm trying to think of our guest list right now. Oh, yeah. Because they're playing the Guardians, one of the best defensive shortstops of all time. Omar Vizquel is going to join us tomorrow. And the prop queen, Ariel Epstein, is going to join us tomorrow. So we're rocking.
We are rocking and rolling.
We are
baby.
rocking and rolling. Are you okay, Kev? A little tired?
I am so confident I will never lose a challenge again.
We have a lot of doubts. And define challenge.
I've finally found my form. This is what I needed.
Forget your form.
This is what I needed 10 years ago when I was cut from the 6th grade basketball team, or
That was only 10
15 years ago.
I was going to say, I was like, that was
Yeah,
longer
15,
than
15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we're getting close to wrapping up. And we appreciate everyone on YouTube, X, Facebook. And Joe, I see you on there. Arkansas Facts with Joe on Facebook. It's a great logo, by the way, my friend. And we appreciate on the Facebook side. We're trying to do more there. And for the YouTube side, we might be going dark here, a little rip after dark upcoming. So click that join button, become a channel member. That's more behind the scenes of just shooting it with the crew. And there's a wild Rocco DeSangre that shows up. It makes his day. Really does.
It does.
It really does. You can see the ups and downs of Rocco, but we're working on continuing to enhance everything around, and also a little bit more intimate to ask all the questions, because I see a lot of questions in here We try to answer as much during it. Like Andrew, I understand a curiosity about free agents next year and about Ryan O'Hearn, Vince, since what's that look like? We're going to talk a lot about this. We've talked about that in the past with O'Hearn, that you're going to trade a guy. It's not always, more times than not, you're not going to see them make their way back to Baltimore. And 2026, honestly, the free agents, there's a lot of guys that are trying to still increase their value that are having rough goes, and some that the value is going to be high. We got to get through this deadline here before we look into 2026. So a lot more, though. Come join us. Join the channel. Hit that join button next to subscribe. Really helps the channel, and we appreciate all of your guys' help. And, guys, I think it's a great start to the week.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
What a day.
Let's play a love game. Play a love game.
Still a great song.
Hey, you know it is. It is. And as always, though, I don't know where I was going with that. I'll be honest.
Wow, that was probably the best point of the day by you.
Yes. Write that down. Write down. Put that in the contract, Cincy. All right, guys. Any other thing before we get on out of here?
Nah, let's cue the music. Yeah, I run this show now.
Oh my God. As always, here on the Ryan Ripken Show, have a day, have a night, have a great stinking rest of your Tuesday. You guys know if you watch the O's games, Kevin and Zach react after the game for post-game lives, but be good. See you back here tomorrow to get over the hump